Leftists are ruining America, and no one more so than Hassan Diddy Bin Laden Adolf Epstein Piker over here. That's our guy. He is known for doing all sorts of heinous extremist garbage, like promoting all sorts of acts of violence in America, around the world. He hates specific ethnic groups, as I will prove once again today. And also, I want to make this clear, he is not alone. We are also going to be looking at a very, very dark, deep-ass reaction into the depths of how society is being destroyed by people like him and by leftists in general. Modern America is in a really rough spot right here, and so is Hassan Schmeckler, because this dude is getting absolutely obliterated right now, and we are getting really, really close to a point of no return. Now, important to note, disclaimer, I know a little bit of the context of what we're going to be talking about before we get too deep into it, because I may perhaps have helped somebody with a video that they made that's a little bit diabolical. So we might get a little bit canceled by people that think that I'm going a little too far. All right, so yeah, there is something of a Islamist extremist crisis, and I am just going to say, sharpen your pitchforks, boys and girls. Leave a like on this video. Let's up those numbers. We are definitely getting canceled, but that's why I'm here. Definitely subscribe.
Go ahead and
so it all started with this clip over here. This is Hassan Schmorgelblorgel.
I have something here that was sent to me from an excerpt from the interview that you guys conducted, where you...
So this is something I've covered already, him talking to Nelk about their interview with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and they were criticizing him because Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel bad, you must be bad, you interviewed Hitler too, right? So this guy tries to hit them with a hard-hitting blast.
You asked him if he prefers, you know...
I think it's controversial whenever somebody interviews a war criminal. I think that's usually the way it goes. I'm not really necessarily against interviewing war criminals. I do have a problem, and I suspect Hassan probably does as well, with the way that the interview was conducted, the questions that they asked him. And I haven't watched all of it, okay? You know what? We'll watch it after this, but maybe. I can't find it anywhere, though. It's been
King or McDonald's or whatever.
All right, so they even had the disrespect to ask the Prime Minister of Israel, what does he prefer, Burger King or McDonald's? Diabolical! How could you ask such a humanizing question? Now, it's a little interesting.
That was sent to me from an excerpt from the interview that you guys
can... genocide war criminal. Because he's literally, according to the ICC, a genocide conducting war criminal.
Right. Where you asked him if he prefers, you know, Burger King or McDonald's or whatever.
But did Hassan ask that same question to a Houthi terrorist?
And it's really interesting because, like, people have yelled at me for doing this. Is there a KFC there? They're everywhere. I don't think there's a KFC in Yemen, dog.
He says they have two.
Oh, they do have KFC in Yemen? That's crazy. Okay, that's sick.
Is there a KFC in Yemen? No way! No.
Yeah, so are we all on the same page? Are we all on the same page? How dare you ask? How dare you ask Netanyahu if he prefers Burger King or KFC? You're talking to a man that's literally part of Israel, which means he must be Satan too. So how dare you ask such meager questions? Also, Hassan,
I don't think there's a KFC in Yemen, dog.
To a literal terrorist, let me remind you.
They should have asked him, are you okay? Why do you allow children to be shot in the head by your military? Why do you allow them to shoot children?
Says they have to.
That would have been a better question than, oh, you like Burger King or McDonald's.
So anyway, how dare you ask those questions to an actual terrorist, Hassan? But honestly, that is not even close to the worst of what you're about to see about this motherfucker today.
There are two grave threats to Israel's existence.
All right. Two threats to the existence of Israel, which he personally doesn't care, because he chants all the time, you know, globalize the Intifada, river to the sea. He wants to kill all the Jews in Israel. We've established this in previous videos in the How Fucked Is Hassan Piker franchise.
Yeah. It's not fucking Iran or Hezbollah or Hamas or anything like that.
It's not all the terrorist organizations that have actively said themselves that they're planning on murdering Jews and succeeded in murdering Jews. It has nothing to do with those guys. They are not the threat.
Okay. The greatest threat to Israel's existence is Israelis themselves being like, yeah, fuck this shit. I don't feel safe here at all. I'm leaving. I'm going back to Brooklyn.
Back to Brooklyn, he says. First of all, I don't think you have to worry too much about, you know, Israelis leaving as the biggest threat to Israel, because I thought that's exactly what you wanted. But second of all, back to Brooklyn. Did you know that the majority of people in Israel, Jews specifically in Israel, were born in Israel? Like 85% of people in Israel were born in Israel? That's one. And two, did you know that most of the people did not come from Brooklyn, you fucking racist? Hello? Like, this dude will spend every stream crying about one specific group of people, the Palestinians, and 100%, I feel very bad for every innocent person killed. But this dude will spend every single stream sitting and crying and screaming. Literally. Crying and screaming about this one specific group. He doesn't care about 5.5 million people killed in Yemen.
Look, that is obviously a joke, the Brooklyn thing. However, there are tons of settlers from Brooklyn. There are like several. And some of them went there recently. They settled in Israel recently. They were moved from Brooklyn. Okay, like this is real. This does actually happen. And it's kind of crazy that like somebody can just be living in Brooklyn and then just decide like, well, I think I'll just settle in the Middle East. Why not? Like it's kind of crazy. Why do people do that?
In the Congo, he doesn't care about 400,000 people killed in Yemen. He doesn't care about 650,000 people killed in Syria. He only specifically cares about this one group of people. In my opinion, it's because he hates Jews and Israel in general. Now, that's pretty awesome. Now, the funny thing is, around 700, well, this isn't funny, but around 750,000 Palestinians were displaced during what they call the Nakba, which is when, in 1967, they attacked the Jews in Israel, and Israel ended up defending themselves and winning that war and displacing 750,000 people. What Hassan refuses to tell you is that...
they were just defending themselves. They were defending themselves, and whoops, we defended ourselves, and we accidentally displaced 750,000 people. Crazy.
850,000 Jews were displaced from Arab countries around Israel. For example, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Morocco. They literally kicked all the Jews out at threat of death. So realistically, he is retarded, completely retarded. The vast majority of Jews are not from...
Why'd they do that? Why'd they do that? Why did they expel all those people?
From Brooklyn. All right, last I checked. You know, when Moses came down the Empire State Building and gave the tablets to the Jewish people. I don't remember that little bit of lore. But anyway.
I'm leaving. I'm going to France. I'm leaving. I'm going to fucking the UK. When more and more liberal Israelis, who are themselves most likely bloodthirsty as well.
Oh, most Israelis are just likely bloodthirsty. This is the most racist thing I've ever heard.
Oh, okay. In terms of like how
it's not racist because Israeli isn't a fucking race, and also it's accurate. Like, I'm sorry. Have you seen the videos? Look, Israel is not like a big place. Okay, it's like kind of small relative to fucking Texas. I'm pretty sure. So think about that. Think about that. It's not a huge place, and yet. I see a lot of videos of like people from Israel, Israelis going to other countries and like yelling and shit and getting all political. And they're like, we must kill the terrorist babies. We must kill the babies. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and genuinely, I think that a lot of, not all Israelis, there are a lot of Israelis that see what's going on and they're against it. Like the draft dodgers, whatever they're called. Whatever it's called, but the ones that are, I forgot the term for it. Conscious objectors.
Israel has dealt with Gaza or whatever.
Those guys are cool,
but they don't
but
like the
most
negative
people in Israel are,
doing that, which is like,
you know,
the
kind of
Iron
on
Dome
board
and
with
its
what's
security
going on.
perishing.
Yeah, no shit. Israel
Making
wants to
them
make sure that
bloodthirsty.
their Iron Dome doesn't perish. You realize the Iron Dome is the defense mechanism that stops missiles from killing civilians. But Hassan so badly wants Israeli civilians to die, all right? He so badly wants Israeli civilians dead, he wants to make sure that they don't have the defense system. Now, the reason why he's retarded is because the only reason why the war went on this long without killing a lot more people is because there's the Iron Dome protecting Israelis. If the Iron Dome would not be existing protecting Israelis, Gaza would have been a parking lot on October 8th because they had the capability to do that, and they didn't do that because they wanted to minimize collateral damage or whatever the argument was at the time. But essentially, that is what they said, and if they wouldn't have a defense mechanism, they would be on the offensive a lot more. So his stupid ass wants to kill all the Jews in Israel. He wants them all to move back to Brooklyn, where they came from. He said they're all bloodthirsty anyway, and he wants to get rid of all the defense systems.
You are left with a country that is packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population, and like there are.
Yeah, so, and then he says, after all the bloodthirsty liberals leave, you're only left with the rabid, inbred, bloodthirsty nationalists, the Haredi population. Now, because he's a complete and utter fucking retard, he doesn't realize that the Haredi population, that he likes to call the bloodthirsty, rabid, inbred people, first of all, insanely racist, holy masked off moment, it's insane, that's one. Two, and I think this is important to note, he's coming from Turkey, where the rates of inbreeding is fucking through the roof, astronomical by comparison, says Mr. Turkish Hitler over here.
Turkey
and
is
three,
like
the Haredi population are literally the most anti-nationalist people in the country. They are not nationalists at all. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. They are the only population in Israel that basically don't serve in the military for the most part. So he is completely retarded. So everything he said was wrong. It was all just basic, random, blood libel, disgusting, slanderous bullshit because he hates Jews and wants to kill Jews. I'm really glad he was able to take the mask off a little bit. That was really nice. I was actually talking to someone about Hassan Piker, someone high up in specific companies. I was like, yeah, how do you let this shit happen? And I was told, well, you see, Hassan Piker is in fact protected. Quote. But anyway, we'll see what happens when he's in jail, because that's when things are going to change. Yeah, apparently between 26 and 34% of Turkish marriages are first cousins. Incredibly hot take. You know, when he was talking about inbred, he was referring to his family gatherings, obviously. So Asmongold did an interesting reaction to this. And by the way, Asmongold's ban was nothing compared to this. Like, not even close.
You were banned for less? I feel like if I said that, I would get in trouble.
When more and more liberal Israelis, who are themselves most likely bloodthirsty as well, you are left with a country packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, rabid, Haredi population.
That's crazy.
Asmongold got banned for saying way less about Palestinians' culture.
True.
Yes, but he's ugly.
It's crazy.
Sorry. In Asmongold's defense, on average, all right, let's try to put this in a good way. In Asmongold's defense, each one of his hairs is contributing more to his overall head of hair than most people. Like, each of his hairs individually deserves more praise. All right. So same with his teeth, to be honest. Each one of his teeth is like carrying a bigger load than most people. Right? Most people share the load between more teeth, so that means each of his teeth are technically more powerful than the average man. I got him. I'm literally on his side.
Top clips.
On the other hand, you have obviously ISIS, which is, you know, this terror cell that seemingly never attacks Israel.
Lies!
And only kills Muslims. Weirdly enough.
It's not even true!
Okay, don't know what that's about. I'm not going to point any fingers here.
I'm not gonna say
that Israel controls ISIS, but, and also, by the way, Israel doesn't control ISIS. ISIS attacked Israel multiple times.
Not gonna point any fingers here.
the race of the doctor.
It was a Jewish doctor.
It was a Jewish doctor.
Yeah.
Off topic, Ozzy Osbourne died. Yeah, I know. I heard. R.I.P.
Well, I'm sure he's gonna say very nice things about Ozzy Osbourne. You know, an actual legend, someone that pushed music to a higher level, one of the most influential people of all time.
Ozzy Osbourne. His wife sucks, for sure.
You know why? Because she thinks Israel has the right to exist. Like, how are you such a subhuman fuck? Her father was Ashkenazi Jewish. Well, if that makes sense, it turns out. Wow. His wife sucks. Why? Father was Jewish.
I don't know how he says stuff like this and nothing ever happens. What you said was insensitive, should not be banned. Well, I'm fine with getting suspended if I break the
Her
rules. That's okay.
father's
I just think everybody
Jewish,
else should
so
be
she
treated the same
has
way.
to support
And I
Israel.
wouldn't say
How do
anything,
you not
but
see
he
that
shit
as
on
being
you all the time.
anti-Semitic?
Yeah,
bro?
I know.
I know you're non-confrontational.
I am.
I make up
Israel is a fucking
do.
country. You don't have to
Based
support
Asmodad.
it because it's not the
allow
Jew
me
club.
to shoot
Israel isn't the
Whoa,
fucking Jew club.
Guys, he really appreciates all of the kind words. Everybody, yep, all right. So I'm going to go ahead
Oh my
and I
God.
will call you later.
The
Base Asmondad.
most inbred.
Happy birthday, dear.
That's crazy.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, just a little reminder. Little fucking reminder, by the way. Just a random little tiny itty bitty reminder that Twitch threw him birthday parties. Now, anyway, think before you sleep. Drop the video how leftists threw in America. My hot take is I agree. All right, that's the hot take of the day. Welcome. Thank you so much for being. I appreciate you. That's today's hot take. Apparently, we
Just so you're aware, though, there is no evidence that ISIS has like collaborated with the Israeli government. That would be pretty fucking crazy. But like, I don't know, Mossad is in the intelligence community there. Like they have, I think they have spies in a lot of places, you know, that you wouldn't expect working from the inside. So they probably, I'm sure they have like intelligence assets in ISIS, but it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter. What they're doing is still the same, which is ethnic cleansing.
the Islamist extremist rabbit hole here. And listen, as someone that doesn't like Hassan Piker very much, I am happy to say I did contribute to this video. Mr. Think Before You Sleep actually messaged me. He's like, hey, I need some assistance. And I was like, oh, I got you, brother. And I gave him, let's just say, assistance as fuck. All right, so let's see what we got.
The reason why I don't use the term good morning, did you know back in slavery days, after the masters had beaten us, taken our children...
What do you mean us? You were a slave? Ain't no way you were a slave.
And then left us in a dark shed overnight, they would literally open up the door and they would greet...
Wait, you mean to tell me that this girl, who is voluntarily wearing a cattle nose ring, has these things to say? I'm just saying. This is a hot take. Any women in my audience, by the way? Any women in my audience? No man likes this shit. Not one. All right? If you think that it's sexy, you have every right to do whatever the fuck you want. However, no man likes this. This is completely hated by all men ever. Hot take.
Us by saying, did you have a good morning? Meaning, did you cry all night over the things that we've done to your loved ones?
Good fucking shitballs. What are we doing with these people? Like, how are the... Could you believe that she could vote? Could you believe that she could vote? Oh, no, this isn't coming from a racist perspective.
Do y'all... Okay, after that whole, like, septum thing, and then that, and, like, you can see why I thought he was underage, right? This man is pushing 30. He is pushing 30 hard right now. It's crazy.
From an IQ perspective, she's retarded. She's fucking retarded.
Good morning. I'll take shit that never happened for 1,000, Alex. Does anyone believe this?
When the women...
It doesn't need to be true. It needs to make you feel bad for them. It makes you need to feel bad for them.
Used to mourn about their child being taken away and sold to a different slave master. Most of these things used to happen in the evening time. When the slaves used to cry about what happened, the white slave masters, the oppressors, will wake up in the morning time and they'll tell the slaves, did you have a good morning?
Now,
wait, is this a real thing? Is this a brand new thing that's took in root in America? Oh my lord. What, is good morning now racist? I'm gonna start saying it more.
I believe it even less. It seems like every other year these people are trying to cancel another word or a gesture. First they told us the...
Did you hear about that time where my great-great-great-great-grandfather was a Jew in the Holocaust and the Nazi soldiers said to him, good evening? Well, when you tell me good evening, I can't do this, bro. How are these real people?
The OK sign was a dog whistle to white supremacists, even after they found out that it was a troll. Then they told us that we can't say rule of thumb anymore because of feminism.
Rule of thumb is anti-feminist? Many feminists for years thought the phrase rule of thumb referred to British common law's tolerance of wife beating. What does that have to do with rule of thumb? These people are retarded. Like, if you have to try this hard to be a victim, then you're not a victim.
And now, good morning is offensive. Are these the same people who said that white people can't wear dreadlocks because it's cultural appropriation? Look, a bunch of years ago, this chick felt the need to put her hands on a guy for doing that. I mean, does this girl have any idea how much money black women spend trying to make their hair look like a white woman's?
Whoa, 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 whoa! Whoa, whoa! Stop, bro, stop. That's called reverse colonization, okay? Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna tell you something incredibly real, okay? I'm gonna tell you something real, and it's going to traumatize you. All right, you know, I'm even gonna pull up the fucking paper for this one. I'm gonna pull, oh, this is me explaining the pyramid scheme on how you get hookers at the top. Pay no attention to that. That's just what they call vindication in the business. But let me explain something to you, okay? These are the rules of colonization, all right? These are the rules of colonization, all right? If you're white, you're on stolen land, all right? If you're Mexican, if you know what? I'll make it even better. I'll make it even better. If you're an illegal immigrant, it's your land, okay? Now, if you're a white person in Europe, it's still somehow stolen land. We just don't know who you stole it from. You're still a colonizer. It's completely irrelevant. All right, you see, the thing is about this entire system, and I think it's very important to note, okay? If you are white, you have no homeland. You are never in a homeland. You are always a forever colonizer. If you are not white, you have all the homeland, all right? I want to make this very clear. You have all the homelands. All right, this is very important for you to note, all right? So, to be clear, if the colonizer is brown, then it's not colonization, all right? If the colonizer is white, then it is colonization, all right? I want to make this clear. There is no homeland for white people. All right, I want to make this clear. You're racist if you think anything other than this.
There must
what if
be
you're Jewish? Oh, easy. Well, then
we must
far
secure
right people
the
will say that you're not
sanctity
white,
of,
and far left people will say that you are white. All right?
We must secure a future for our children.
White spaces so I can colonize it.
It's funny because I thought colonization was bad.
I love going to white vacation spots, white bars, white restaurants, and I love when they give you that look when it's like you're not supposed to be there, and I'm very much so there. I love being in spaces that I'm technically not supposed to be in, and it's the best feeling ever.
You have a problem. You have a problem.
Here we go again with more shit that's never happened. Living in a city, I guarantee you that she's never been in a situation where she walked into a bar, the music cuts out.
But there's also no such thing as only white bars. That stuff is over, all right? That's why I push back so hard.
And all the white people just stare at her like she's not supposed to be there, like it's some movie. Someone on Twitter was like, how about you colonize this job fair? I agree, this is
destroyed. It's so over. Holy shit. Why don't you colonize a husband and raise a healthy family? Why don't you colonize a salad? Why don't you colonize a treadmill, bitch?
to some unemployed behavior.
Sorry,
but you have
that
to
was
ask,
crazy.
what's the point of making all this stuff up? Well, basically, it's a tactic used to spread racial division because when certain people do that, they get special privileges for themselves at the expense of everyone else, including the expense of the people that they claim to help. Essentially, these people do it because it makes them money, and this very common tactic of leftists has caused a lot of damage to this country. Now, let me clarify that when I say leftists, I don't mean the reasonable people on the left.
No. Okay, dude, I had this discussion with Think Before You Sleep. Like, his example of a reasonable person on the left was Bill Maher, and he said, just double checking, is he actually a reasonable guy? And I'm like, yeah, I think he's a reasonable guy. He's like, okay, I'm gonna use that then. Yeah, no, there is, I've explained this so many times, and I think it's so important to explain every single time. All right, if you have a political, this is the political spectrum, all right? This is the left, this is the right over here, this is the center, okay? So, in my opinion, anything in this space is at least somewhat reasonable, okay? It's somewhat reasonable, all right? So here you want a little more welfare, socialism kind of shit. Here you want more of a free market, more capitalism kind of shit, and I respect the shit out of that, all right? Whatever you think. I personally think socialism is cancer, but hey, that's not my opinion. I mean, it is my opinion, but that doesn't really matter right now, all right? So anything in this box is normal. But if you're over here and you're like, you know, supporting Islamic terrorism, then you're retarded. And if you're here and you're supporting, you know, neo-Nazi shit, you're also retarded. This is my incredibly hot take. All right, that's my hot take. So Bill Maher is like here. This is probably Bill Maher. Still reasonable enough. All right, that's my opinion. If you're all
I can draw pictures too. Alright. I wanted to do something a little different. Get the left and the right. There we go. See, I can do this too. Damn, I did that pretty fast. Alright, so anyway. My point here is, in the United States, this is what our political spectrum looks like, right? Most people fall within this box. Okay, and this is the center. And anyway, on this side, you know, you have people that want universal health care. Okay, they're like a little bit to the left. They're like, hey, I think that everybody should be guaranteed health care. Maybe they even want like a raise in the minimum wage. Something like that. And then over here on the right, you have people that want the age of consent laws to be abolished or something. Age of consent? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with them. But anyway, in the rest of the world, in this case, I put the EU. You know, less and less so every year, though. American politics looks more like this. Okay, you have the center right here, and then most Americans fall somewhere in this box. So you see, it's all relative, and it's all about the things that we choose to talk about. And in our country, instead of like talking about healthcare and how we can get healthcare to everyone. We're talking about taking specific kinds of healthcare away from certain people. It's stupid. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be trying to give healthcare to everyone. Everyone. That's what we should be doing. And all of these other issues centered around healthcare, the cost of prescription medication, the cost of insurance, premiums, everything. All these issues are just a distraction from the fact that our government isn't trying to give everyone health care. But anyway, Nuxanor...
all the way here, then you're a fascist. If you're all the way here, then you're a fascist.
When I say
politics.
leftist, I mean radical leftists like
Yeah,
Hassan
Bill
Piker.
Maher is such a leftist. He's so left. That's why he like loves the military and military expansion. He loves fucking imperialism, and like he also says that like he's also super Islamophobic. I almost fucking forgot to mention that. How could I? It's fucking Bill Maher. It's fucking Bill Maher. Bill Maher is like, Muslims are evil. They're evil terrorists. It's the most evil religion. Even though he's a fucking atheist. He's not even religious. And he's like talking about Islam. Like yeah, they're like all evil.
True! He sits there at his mansion talking about how poor he is.
And the difference between people like him and the radical right, like Nick Fuentes or Richard Spencer, is that the radical right has no mainstream backing, and they have been religiously censored, so they don't really have any power. However, on the other side, the radical left has...
not anymore! The far right is pretty powerful right now.
...had a huge backing from big tech and the legacy media for the past decade.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I really think that there is a nefarious plot to push this far left shit. It really is. It's like an actual psyop. I mean, look, we literally just saw definitive evidence that Obama tried to steal the election, okay? I think that genuinely 100%, without a far fucking doubt, without even like the smallest of doubts, I personally believe that it is artificially through bullshit, cheating, deep state, globalists, random bullshit. They push the world towards the left. Way more fucking migration, communism galore, literally everywhere. And like as an example, communism and Nazism are essentially opposites, right? Nazism would be far right, let's say. Communism would be far left, let's say. They're both equally bad. I think they're both equally bad. A radical communist and a Nazi, same fucking shit.
Yeah, horseshoe theory. Look, horseshoe theory is so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. So what he's saying is Nazis, communists, they're just alike. They're exactly the same. Nazis, they seized power, dismantled the documents that, or like the legislation, they dismantled the existing constitution in the Republic at the time. Okay, basically taking away the rights of every citizen. They did that. They took over. They they took over the industry and then gave the reins over to their richest donors, their friends, who were evil and racist. And then once they did that, they basically it was fuck the worker, fuck the trade unionists. They killed the trade unionists. They killed the communists first. That was the first thing they did. Anyway.
All right, they're equally bad. They're on both sides. However, communism is accepted. Communism is accepted.
Oh, yeah, but on the other side, you have communism. Communism is the far left, which is an ideology where the basic premise is that all materials should be distributed, each according to their need. Everybody should be taken care of. Like, they should be given what they need to survive.
In society, if you're a communist, it's cool now. Look at the guy that's running to become the new fucking mayor of New York City. Like, what are we doing? It's crazy. Communism's everywhere, and for some reason, everyone's okay with it. But if you even slightly mention that you're far right, they will literally kill you. I don't know. I know that Nazism was socialist, but it is a far right ideology at this point. The way it's used in modern colloquialisms. Yes, I know that Nazism is a National Socialist Party.
In fact, they've gotten so much support and constant signal boosting from these places that any...
Yeah, except they weren't fucking socialists. They didn't do... What the fuck are you talking about? Socialists are supposed to advocate for a socialized workplace, a socialized organization, where the employees own the company and get to participate in like what the company is doing, how they are operating. that is what socialism is. The Nazis didn't do that. They just called themselves socialist. That's all. Like, these words, they have meaning. They have definitions. The reason that the Nazis did this is because far-right organizations like that will obviously try to make themselves more appealing to the average person. And in Germany, at the time, the average person thought socialism sounds pretty good, you know? Oh, yeah, like, oh, yeah, they're gonna, like, you know, help us out, the worker. Right? And then they turned around and, oh, they didn't do that. Wow, that's so crazy.
Anybody on the left with a reasonable take.
They turned around and arrested all of the socialists in Germany and then sent them to death camps.
Oh my god, what am I looking at? When black women
I never would have expected that to happen.
Things have been shifting, and now we don't have to worry about getting banned for calling out some racist lady who thinks it's okay that a bunch of kids died at a summer camp because they're white.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this.
You should.
But Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls Christian camp.
Now, for context, Camp Mystic is the camp that was destroyed in Texas, all right, by the crazy flooding, and a lot of these kids were killed. And she's like, I don't even care. It's a white-only camp. It's Christian. Now, to be clear, it's not a white-only camp, all right? That's first. It's not a white-only camp. And also, what the fuck? Even if it was, what the fuck?
They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going.
Crazy.
Period. And I think that
Meanwhile, her boyfriend is apparently a white pastor in a church.
Context needs to be said.
So she's okay with children dying if they're white? And you wonder why there might be some sort of fatigue of specific movements in America. You wonder why!
In this matter.
Why is this information relevant at all? If the camp had only contained black kids or Asian kids, it would still be incredibly sad to hear that a bunch of kids died.
True.
Now, let me provide some context for this clip. A few weeks ago, there was a flash flood in Texas, and the Guadalupe River, which is right near this girls' camp called Camp Mystic, rose 26 feet in 45 minutes at 4 a.m. when everyone was sleeping. Over 130 people have died so far, and many of them kids.
Crazy.
ABC says that number is 37. And this chick didn't wait more than like 10 seconds after the event happened to go on her racist diatribe where she basically said, yeah, it was just a bunch of white Christian kids and nothing of value was lost.
That's crazy. It's fucking crazy that that's even remotely acceptable. Like, holy shit.
Leaving hate comments on my page about, oh, these are just kids and they don't know no better. The parents of these children who are choosing, and it is a choice in 2025, it is definitely a freaking choice to go into East goddamn Texas and to make a all-white enclave, exclusionary just for white people, with all the black people in East Texas, with all the Hispanic people in East Texas, somehow, some way, you have carved out an all-white, whites-only enclave.
It makes me so mad. It's crazy that people are even like this.
For your white children.
Yeah, so first of all, important to note, this is not true. It's not a white-only camp, all right? It's not a white-only camp, so that's not even true. There are literally black people in the fucking photos that she is showing. That's first. And second of all, whenever I see these videos, I am reminded that it's not only white people that are actually racist to black people. It might even be the other way around as well. Crazy to think about.
Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a big...
You have a problem with that? Bro, 37 kids died. I have a problem with that only white kids were around. I wish some black kids would have died too. What are we doing here?
Problem with that.
I don't know, maybe black kids don't like going to summer camp. Do you have any actual evidence that racism is occurring or evidence that they're preventing black people from entering?
First of all, I don't even care. Even if it's a racist, far-right, extremist Christian camp that is super far-right and they're mega racist and it's only white people, you are still justifying 37 kids dying. All right, so with all due respect, fuck you. That's first. Second of all, you're also wrong. You're also retarded.
Or is white people merely existing in a space together inherently racist? I'll remember to instantly assume that black people are being racist anytime they exist in a space without white people.
True.
But here's the thing. This retard is so bigoted that she couldn't even spend literally 10 seconds clicking around the website to notice that, oh shit, here's a black person.
Oh my god, more than one! More than one black person in the photo. Oh my god.
Of American to the left of her. That's not the only picture of a black person either. In fact, if you pay attention, you can actually see multiple non-white kids go across her screen as she's talking.
Once again, this is no shade to the girls. I hope they all get found. But once again...
No shade to the girls! Fuck them though, hope they die!
Y'all have to understand the climate that we're living in. They want you to have sympathy.
Dude, I'm not saying they have KKK on their shirt. No! I know it's not the actual KKK, but that's just funny as fuck.
Understand the climate that we're living in. They want you to have sympathy for these people. They want you to get out of your bed and to come out of your home and to go find these people and to donate your money to go find these people.
They want you to find these kids that are dying or dead, but I say, fuck them, they're white. Am I right, guys?
Meanwhile, they are deporting your family members.
Well, if your family members are in America illegally, they should leave.
Meanwhile, they're setting up concentration camps and prisons for your family members.
Yeah, I don't know of any concentration camps in America. I don't know why prisons are bad now. Are prisons bad? Should we not
These aren't prisons. Prison is a place that you go when you're convicted of a crime by a judge. These are detention camps where people are sent without due process, without going in front of a judge, without having their case heard, in many cases without being able to speak to a lawyer. And, you know, they're crammed into a cage with, you know, 29 other people.
Prison criminals, is that like a thing? Should we make sure to keep the rapists on the street? Is that like your advice?
And I need y'all to keep that in mind before y'all get out there and put on your rain boots and go find these little girls.
Before you go
Some
find children that are drowning, I need you to remember
violations.
that Trump is president and that these are white kids. Hell yeah, dude.
Now, I'm not saying that I hope these kids die, but just remember that they're white before you donate money or go out trying to save them. Oh, and let's also make sure that a bunch of kids are responsible for their parents' opinions on border enforcement.
You have to be a sick and twisted individual to equate a 7, 8, 9-year-old's death as deserving because of who their parents voted for.
Now, of course, I don't agree with any of her framing around deportations, especially because of her lack of proof of what she's claiming. And if you don't want to get deported, then don't cross the border illegally.
True.
But the woman who said this, Sadie Perkins, is...
Or leave yourself. Like, oh my god, this deportation shit has got to be the biggest crybaby bullshit of all time. By the way, this might be my hottest take. I get canceled for like a lot of shit that I say on the internet, like especially when I push back against Hassan in general. But when it comes to like basic American politics, my hot take is don't be a criminal, and if you're a criminal, you should follow the law. And if you're in the country illegally, you should leave. That's my hot take. And I don't really care, honestly, to be frank. Honestly, this is not really my business. We're worried about America. America has enough problems without you bringing some spare issues over the border. Incredibly hot take. Get a visa. Yeah, do it legally. There are ways. There are methods. I'm sorry. I get so much fucking shit for this. It is so old. All these protests and riots. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's a prison. They're putting people in prisons. Yeah, they're fucking criminals. That's what we do. Yes, absolutely.
Is literally evil.
To all of you people who are posting my criminal record as if I didn't know I've been to jail
Evil
before.
jaywalkers.
Bro, every time someone
Sent
comes
to
out with one of
death-
these fucking
death
tapes,
camp.
what is going on?
Let me tell you something. Those charges are real, okay? All those assault charges,
All those assault charges. Yo, this bitch be crazy. No.
real. Which means I will not hesitate to
Nice,
kick the dog
Nuxanor.
shit out of any one of y'all.
Threat to violence. That's right, baby. That's right. When they called her out for wishing the deaths upon white children, she immediately threatened violence.
All right? Again, I actually have empathy, so...
I have empathy. I'm gonna beat your ass for trying to save white children.
This empathy shit is a meme at this point. Anyone running their mouth talking about how much empathy they have is an instant indicator that you're speaking to a sociopath.
No, I actually do have empathy. This is my opinion. In my opinion, as someone with empathy myself, okay, I do have empathy, which is why I want to make sure that all of the people that are in the country illegally should deport themselves. That's my opinion. As someone with a lot of empathy, get the fuck out yourself, all right? Listen, I don't want you in jail. I just want you out. I have so much empathy.
So naturally, someone created a Give, Send, Go for her because
Of
they
course,
think Sadie
of
should be
course.
rewarded for being racist.
That's it.
In a place where race shouldn't even be an issue. This is a
By the way, what she said is a million times worse than saying the N-word. That's my incredibly hot take of the day.
tragedy that involved children. Why does their race matter? Well, it matters because she wants special privileges, so she wants to create animosity between black and white people to gain that. And of course, Sadie had a small job in government, so she likely would have had practice at race grifting. But fortunately, over the past year or so, we've seen many black people become outspoken in their hatred of this kind of behavior from people like Sadie. During the Carmelo Anthony situation, where a black kid who stabbed a white football player tried to pretend that he was the victim because of racism, if you can imagine that.
There was so much racism, and that's why he went, sat in someone's place, and then stabbed them in the heart.
Was he actually a victim? No, he was just trying to get a murder charge dismissed. And he was willing to harm race relations to accomplish that.
Yes!
This is why
That's, in my opinion, no one hurts the black community like black people. No one hurts the Jewish community like Jewish people. No one hurts the white community like white people. It's people in everyone's group that makes their group bad. That's my opinion. Because ultimately, you know, people are going to see something, and they're going to immediately equate everything else as that thing. So think about it. If you're a black person and you're acting like a piece of shit, you are making racism worse for other black people. All right? And it's the same with every single fucking group. If you have a transgender person trying to groom a child, well, yes, yep, that's...
No, it's not the same in every group. It's not the fucking same. Of course it's not. The fuck are you talking about? Black people are targeted by police. They're targeted by the fucking police. It's not like we're not on equal footing here. That's why when a person of color is like racist towards white people, it's usually just like a roundabout way of them saying like that like life fucking sucks if you're a person of color in this country. This, like, anti-white racism is not actually racism, it's just venting by people who are tired of the system that subjugates
That's gonna make some people transphobic. That's reality. Welcome to real life, bitch. You are single-handedly destroying your movement. Every time these people yell and scream racism and all of that garbage, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It only goes the other way.
he and his PR team are pieces of shit. Well, outside of the murder thing and the possible charity fraud. So like I said, none of this has to do with any actual morality. It's all about people using false accusations of racism as an excuse to get special privileges, whether that be socially through reputation or through job opportunities they would otherwise have been seen unqualified for, or through monetary handouts. And this is done at the cost of everybody else's trust and goodwill. If you want to know why things are so expensive or why it's so hard to get a good job,
immigration.
It's because people like this are screwing up the system to take for themselves. And the more we allow people to blatantly loot everybody, the worse things will get.
Why should I work when capitalism exploits me anyway. Why
Move to Russia. Literally leave. Get the fuck out. Why are you here?
should I work when my ancestors were people's slaves?
Yeah, that's not your problem. I don't care if your ancestors were slaves. That really sucked for them. It doesn't, however, matter to you per se personally. So, I don't know, man. I don't know why we're living in a society like this. Like, it's so crazy. I don't know how this mentality happened. How did this happen? I can't believe the bearded lady would say this. Why would the bearded lady say something like this? This is diabolical. But, I don't know, man. It's fucking insane. And it's not helpful either. All right, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. They survived the Holocaust. Their entire families were murdered. They immigrated legally to North America, and they made something of themselves because they worked their fucking asses off and they didn't feel like the world owed them everything. And you know what? Thank God they built a beautiful family. And that is ultimately why you just gotta work your ass off. These lazy, greedy, slothful, prideful motherfuckers think we owe them everything. I owe you nothing. Literally get out of here, bearded lady.
Were people's slaves.
If you go back far enough in history, basically everyone's ancestors were slaves. So
True. Read the Bible.
Again, obviously this is about a person just grabbing.
Honestly, I feel like read the Bible is potentially some of the greatest advice anyone could ever get. Literally.
What she can get, and not about moral consistency, because she doesn't see it as exploitative to steal money from taxpayers, so she can sit on her ass all day and make TikToks that no one watches.
Okay, dude. How does after the 400th TikTok that got 200 views? Why didn't she consider at least shaving? Like, why didn't she consider removing the beard? You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like the taxpayers are her slaves.
Why should I work when people can't even pay me a living wage? Why should I work on my quality of life when I was working and now hasn't changed?
I mean, it would be a lot easier to make a living wage if you didn't eat so much. Why would you want to work if you could live the same lifestyle and welfare as—
Literally leave. Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that'll shake you to your core? Did you know that on average, black people in America are richer than black people in any other country on the planet? You know what that means? That means that America's fucking awesome, okay? I'm sorry. America's awesome. It really is. And because you're too much of a
America is so awesome to black people. Yeah, man.
Professional victim that you're just gonna sit there, you and your trans fats are gonna sit there and literally shit yourself for content. I'm not doing this, bro.
You could with a job. It sounds to me like welfare needs to be cut so that you can't be happily jobless and live at the same standard of living as someone who works and pays—
True and based. Fuck socialism.
Into the system, because now that person has to work twice as hard to carry—
I like it how they're assuming that this person is like, first of all, like, you know, using welfare programs at all. But also, not only are they assuming that this person is using welfare programs, they're positing that they are like, exploiting the system, using it. I wonder why they think that. I wonder what it is about this person that they're talking about that makes them say that.
Anyway, people are tired of being—
The fact that I am paying for these people is diabolical.
By lazy people, or people who make irresponsible choices, or people who don't know how to budget. So the Trump administration has been cutting benefits.
I'm Cayman, and I'm on EBT, and that upsets a lot of people. But guess what? To the people that are upset, you got your wish. They're cutting EBT.
Sounds great. Why do you need EBT? Get a job. Just to make it so—
thank you. Don't care.
Everyone's on the same page. EBT is like a welfare debit card that's used in place of stuff like food stamps.
Just to clarify a few things real quick. I work 50-plus hour weeks.
No, you don't. You wouldn't need food stamps if you were able to work that hard. That, or you need some roommates, or you need to move to a place that's cheaper, or transfer some of those long hours into learning a skill that pays—
you just need to move. You just need to, you just need to move. Go to a place that's cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Very cool.
We'll clip about that
more.
I am disabled.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. Oh, I should have just packed up and moved somewhere cheaper.
That was crazy, by the way. That was evil. Okay, anyway.
And that's being cut entirely. You know what else hasn't been covered for a while? My testosterone.
Yeah, I could have told you that. I'm so sorry. Today was a tough day, okay? Listen, I'm tired, all right? It was a long day.
$2 per week out of pocket, which is why I haven't been on it for months. It's causing health issues. It's causing hormonal problems. It's really
Why should I pay for your testosterone? Like, I don't understand. This system is so shit.
A good thing all around.
I mean, that kind of sounds like a personal problem. I see no reason why taxpayers should have to pay for your elective procedure.
Complete agreement. Literally completely agreed, all right? Healthcare for trans people is not, necessary healthcare, okay? I could respect a society that tries its best to socialize specific healthcares, even though I think private healthcare is better, in my opinion. Socialized healthcare makes sense, all right? To some people, I could second that one, all right? For important things, not for personal preferences.
Medical insurance generally doesn't
so much better, and I'm not going to elaborate on that at all. Yeah, how is it so much better?
Agreed.
I'm also on Medicaid. Medicaid is on the line to be cut. If I don't have health insurance, that's even more money out of pocket. So you know what I'm not doing this year? I'm not paying taxes, because this government doesn't—
Yeah! Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Excellent rebellion, my friend. This is definitely going to not backfire at all.
No taxation without representation. If you guys aren't willing to pay as a community—
I love how this person doesn't realize that there's something called a democracy. It's where you vote, and then the entire country has this same government. You know that? Like there's that system. You're going to jail bitch.
To help people.
And your breasts are empty. Do you know what that smells like?
Like me and people who are different from you, then people like us aren't going to be willing to help you either.
This is so funny.
Oh,
You
no.
think you're a net taxpayer. But I love how if I say, hey, I would like to not pay so many taxes because taxes seem to mostly go to things that I don't want to pay for or things that I'm actively opposed to, well, then now I'm just a bigot who hates trans people and poor people. But if you don't want to pay taxes, then that's your immoral right. Interesting. Interesting how this is entirely about self-interest and not actual.
It's always been about self-interest. The entire system is rules for me, but not for thee.
Morality. It's interesting how when I want tax cuts, I'm evil, but when you want tax cuts, it's for a good cause. It's almost like these people are incredibly selfish.
Well,
but go see what happens when you...
These are people with absolutely no...
They never said they wanted a tax cut. They said they were, and I think it's dumb, okay, but they said that they weren't gonna pay their taxes as like a protest. That's not the same as like wanting a tax cut. And anyway, you were never gonna get a fucking tax cut. You're not getting a goddamn tax cut. The 1% is getting a tax cut. That's who's fucking getting one. You're not getting dick, dumbass.
Ethical standing in life. They have no moral compass. They have no fucking basis in reality to decide what is just and what is not. They think that they do what they want to do, and consent is the only thing that matters in life. The modern left, and I'm talking far left, thinks that nothing in the world matters except for consent. If you're not hurting anybody, then what's the problem? And they're living in such a closed-minded ideology that they don't realize that me paying taxes because I need to support your bullshit is hurting somebody. And they don't even understand it. It's a narcissistic, selfish mentality that borders on debauchery and hedonism. And honestly, I think this person has EBS, empty breast syndrome.
You don't pay your taxes.
I'm already doing all I can to take care of myself.
Taxes should be consensual. You should be... The reason we don't want to pay taxes is because of what the funds are going towards. More war, more death, more destruction. If our taxes were going towards things that were actually good for us, for the world, for society, then we wouldn't be talking about this.
Incredibly
it wouldn't fucking matter.
I can't try much harder because I'm expending all of my energy doing this. So that's part of why I make extra money here on TikTok. By the way, if you're still
There's no way this person is making extra money on TikTok.
here, thank you for all the interaction you can give because I'm trying to leave this country and making money on here could really help.
You still have to pay taxes as long as you're a U.S. citizen, by the way, even if you leave the country. And forewarning, it costs quite a bit of money to renounce your citizenship. But yeah, welcome to being the average person. We're all having a hard time out here, which is why we get pissed when we find out that some asshole is getting $240 a month for an elective procedure.
The majority of straight white men are
So many red flags. Dude, you don't understand. Like 12 red flags in a single 1 second. Oh my god.
absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, so you're a racist.
Every time. These TikTok crybabies are always super racist. But like I said, people like this are a huge part of the reason why you can't afford things like your parents could. And it goes beyond the monetary value of what they're taking through things like EBT, because ultimately that stuff is just a public bribe to get you to vote in certain people. Ironically, all these welfare flunkies who post on TikTok are the same people who keep complaining about colonization, when in reality, they're the ones enabling it by taking bribes from some of the most evil politicians who then go and do corrupt things in other countries as well as the US. Hard work is the first step of getting rid of evil people, because evil people always prey on the lazy and the uninformed.
True.
I mean, we're trying to get these sociopaths.
Yeah, these are the useful idiots. And by the way, no one thinks that trans people should be in women's sports. No one. It is a fucking 95-5 split. It is a completely retarded, indefensible position. So in my opinion, the reason why politicians lobby and talk about it is because they want to get retard votes. They want the retard vote. They want the average retard to be like, oh my god, this guy's so inclusive to random bullshit that I think is important. I'm gonna vote for him. And that's why they say it. You think the politicians believe this? They don't fucking believe this. I'll bet you your average politician that's fighting for women and female for trans people in female sports, I bet you they don't even believe that transgenderism exists. They probably think that there's two genders, and they're thinking at the back of their head that this whole thing is a sham and stupid, but they have to say it in order to get the votes. They think you're retards, and you are literally rewarding them for it.
Pass out of power, but you assholes keep voting them back in every time they offer you a little welfare. And these guys want to go on TikTok to talk about how evil corporations...
Again, why do they always have this nose ring? Like, bro, pigs have this nose ring. Like, I don't know what is up with modern people and their need to try to cosplay. Dude, I'm going to show you the two characters that have possibly influenced modern hairstyles the most of all time. These are my favorite lesbians in all of fiction. Rocksteady and Bebop. Like, dog, why do you look like Rocksteady and Bebop? Everyone walks out of TikTok looking like either this or that. There is no middle ground. They all do. Every single one of them, bro. I don't understand it. I don't know why they feel like it's necessary.
...are, but who are the biggest supporters of Amazon during the COVID lockdowns as government...
Yeah, anytime he talks about cartoons, I am reminded that this channel, he funnels his child audience into this channel to lead them down the right-wing pipeline. It's fucking crazy.
Mandates
dog.
put all their competition out of business.
True.
Oh, that's right. The radical leftists were the biggest pushers of the lockdown,
No shit.
as well as a bunch of stupid guidelines.
Because they're fascists. Because the radical leftists are fascists. They're just really good at saying trans rights, and we fight for the people. And for some reason, retards believe them.
Lines that had a lot more to do with making it impossible for small businesses to stay afloat than they did with proper use of protective equipment or realistically keeping people safe.
That,
You
I mean,
assholes are the
that's
ones who
not
caused all the
why
post-COVID price
they're
hikes by
not.
saying that we needed to be locked down for over 2
They're
years.
not
And after
native.
you did that, you have the audacity to
Israelis aren't native to Israel because well, I mean, some of them are. They were born there, like 85%, whatever. But the original settlers were not native, and that's important because of what they did when they got there, which was ethnic displacement. It was like really fucked up.
Where's the lie?
That you guys
Where's the lie?
saying, can't you just have some compassion? No, I don't care.
Yeah,
Fix your
true.
damn problem.
I don't give a shit about these people, to be honest. I care about them like I care about anybody else, but personally, I don't feel like I should be giving any more shits towards them that aren't trying to actually make their life better, or my country better. Why should I care about them when I can instead care about people that are trying to literally work on themselves and their country? Like, in my opinion, you are the lowest rung on the totem pole.
Just have fun being broke and not able to afford shit like everyone else.
I don't understand why I have empathy for others and other people don't.
I have so much empathy.
Why do they assume they just assume that these people are in the worst financial situations? Why?
Cutting my
They
family
are
members out for supporting
probably
Trump.
kind of
Wow!
broke.
So much
I don't
empathy! These people are retarded.
And yet, people are calling me crazy for showing any sliver of emotion.
Oh, great. Good old empathy. Now that word has been thrown out, I'm sure it will.
Again, and the funny thing is,
When
they
you're
think
broke,
that
you
they're
gain
actually winning the
class
culture war by saying they're so
consciousness.
tolerant and empathetic. And then, mind you,
why,
these are the most intolerable, unempathetic retards of all time. Insane.
Only be a matter of seconds before the person who talks about how empathetic they are starts demanding stuff.
My healthcare is being taken away, and me being angry at people who voted for this is being seen like I'm crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy. Sorry.
I'm cutting you off. You're out of my
Yeah, you're
fucking
crazy.
life. I'm cutting you out
Yeah,
of
you're
my
crazy.
life.
Yep.
All of you.
Do that. It'll definitely make less people vote for, Republican next time. Hell yeah, dude. You're solving the problem.
Family, friends, you're gone.
Oh, no.
At this point. I have nothing to live for because my health insurance, what I need help for, my mental health, all of that is gone.
Yeah, so she is willing to suicide bomb her entire family instead of get a job.
Wow, it was literally the next thing she said. What a shock. And in a stunning show of empathy, she fails to see why anyone would vote to have benefits cut. Well, maybe it's because people are tired of having shitloads of their money taken, so unemployed people can sit on their ass all day and eat.
Oh, I agree personally. I agree. I hate paying taxes. Taxes suck. They're horrible. And I'm paying taxes so some people can sit on their fucking ass? Nah, dude, that's diabolical. You should be working your ass off just like I am.
Why do you think health insurance is so expensive? Well, I'm old enough to remember that it was Obamacare that basically...
Nuxanor believes he is working his ass off because he has a YouTube channel where he indoctrinates small children into being Zionist, being Islamophobic Zionist. It's crazy, dog. This shit is wild, man.
Price of healthcare, and then fine people for not paying for it. And guess what? They framed it as a handout that people like you voted for, as insurance companies were probably jumping for joy because now not only did they have guaranteed customers, but the mandates meant that they could raise everyone's rates without much protest because people had to buy insurance. Congrats. You guys voted for a handout to insurance companies, and now you're complaining about the results of that.
Yeah, it turns out socialism is shitty. That's my hot take of the day. I really think so. I have some socialists in my chat. Obviously, they show up every now and again. You have the right to your opinion, even though it's wrong.
Yeah, and you can tell me, go get a job, go get a job. I've been trying for 6 fucking months now.
Bro, this is you. Sorry, bro. That's so sad. That's so sad. This is you. That's awful.
And all these fucking idiot Republicans tell me is, go get a job, go get a job.
True, based idiot Republicans.
If I get a job, it will not ensure that I have health care because they never give you full time. What else will it do? It won't make me fucking happy. I won't be able to afford anything.
I think these people don't understand anything about happiness, in my opinion. In my opinion, you have a lot of people that think that happiness is all about people giving you free shit so you can sit on your ass and die alone. These people don't understand anything about life to say that getting a job is gonna not give her happiness. I don't give a fuck. That's not...
Yeah, real happiness comes from, working for the capitalist, of course, getting a 9 to 5 and grinding. Okay, prime time, grind time.
Not my problem. You know what brings you happiness? Accomplishment brings you happiness. Accomplishment is what, in my opinion, is the #1 thing that will bring you happiness. If you accomplish it with your life and you build a beautiful family, marry a loving husband that will take care of you, all right? Have some children, I don't know. Do that. I personally think you'll be happy.
Still, so tell me again to get a fucking job.
Get a fucking job. It's not that difficult. If you're trying to
Times
get any
two,
job
X2,
and it's
2X.
taking you 6 months,
Nuxanor,
you're trying...
Oh my god,
he
I've tried for
knows
6
what
months
makes
and I can't get a
women
job.
happy.
I know I have no credentials and I'm not willing to work hard and I'm also cutting off Trump supporters, but they weren't willing to hire me at Apple.
Hard. In fact, I had an unfortunate point in my adult life where I had to get any job. I looked all day for jobs for like 1 or 2 days, I got interviews, and I was employed and working like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to get a retail or a fast food job.
True.
But as I said earlier, this is very much so missing why net taxpayers are mad. The people who are really paying attention understand that things like EBT are not about giving a helping hand to the less fortunate. The actual purpose of EBT is to serve as a wealth transfer to big corporations. Take California, for example, that recently made it okay to use your welfare card at fast food restaurants.
Found my EBT card, so I went to Popeyes.
This is literally a scam for those companies to funnel your tax dollars.
How are these people so retarded? How do people not know this?
For their business.
Like, are people just sheep?
Yes. And in the same way, they will say that you don't care about children's education if you think that property taxes are immoral. If you criticize E, they can say, how dare you talk about food stamps being a wealth transfer to Kroger? Don't you have any compassion for the less fortunate? I couldn't care less, actually. There needs to be a rework of the system because there are so many able-bodied people abusing welfare benefits.
I mean, in my opinion, I do feel bad for the less fortunate, and I feel bad for them for a myriad of reasons. I think that their upbringing, their education is bad. I think their mental health is destroyed. I think they grew up being told by society that they're entitled to free things, and that's just not how the world works. And now they're in for the fucking culture shock of their life when they realize that life is actually hard, and it's supposed to be hard. So I personally do feel bad for these people. These people were literally gaslit their entire existence until reality slapped them across the face and fucked them in the ass. It sucks, but that's life. Life is difficult. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something true. Anything worthwhile takes work. That's reality. Sorry, you bought into the fucking lie.
That I've stopped caring, especially considering how much some of these radical leftists that you see in these videos hate America. Every time I see one of these people having a meltdown over losing $100 in SNAP benefits, I remember that tons of them are the same people who say shit like this about 4th of July.
I better not see not one motherfucking person. Not one motherfucking person, because what the f are we celebrating quickly? What the f are we celebrating quickly?
We're celebrating
4th of July. You know, the birth of the greatest country in human history. Yeah, that's what we're celebrating. United States of fucking America. A place that's giving you a life.
And all the people who died so that we wouldn't have to be taxed unfairly.
True! Aren't you happy we don't have a king? All these people protesting no kings, no kings. And then they're like, no, 4th of July. 4th of July? We don't celebrate 4th of July. But no kings, no kings!
So that you could criticize the government like you're doing right now. Because back in the past, or even in some select areas in the modern world, you would be imprisoned or killed for dissing a national holiday like that.
If you support Donald Trump...
Well, to be honest, most people don't kill you for disrespecting a country, except for a specific ethnic group of people, a certain group of people, that for some reason the left is very excited to import into our countries. Have you noticed? Also, crazy eyes.
I better not see you wearing red, white, and blue, flying a flag, eating apple pie, or even taking the day off work on the 4th of July. No, you cannot celebrate...
You cannot take off work! Anyway, I don't want to get a job. I want everything to be free!
Independence Day, while simultaneously supporting a man who is actively trying to dismantle our democracy and undermining the Constitution.
I love how she's not obeying the President of the United States because
How dare you not celebrate the 4th of July?
Oh, 7 swing states! Cryo Trump every 4 years!
No kings. 4th of July is anti-king.
You do not value this country. I do value this country, which is why I'm really happy that Trump is tearing down some of this bullshit.
Anymore, man.
That's my opinion. I'm very happy about that. I'll be real. Also,
and that's kind of the point.
Bro, what is this? What is going on? Nightmare shit.
Save your bullshit. You're not a patriot. You're actively anti-American.
Oh, great. It's a liberal.
I love it when people that hate America tell you you're anti-American. It's like people saying Jesus wouldn't have voted for Trump, and then it turns out that person is a gay, tap dancing, transsexual lesbian that simultaneously has gone through 47 abortions. And it's like, thank you for telling me what Jesus would have voted for. I appreciate it. You obviously care about what he has to say very, very much. It's like it's the whole atheists telling you what your religion is actually about kind of shit. Like, what are we doing, guys?
A white woman coming in here to educate us. Is she going to tell us how Trump is undermining the Constitution? No, of course not. She probably hasn't even read the Constitution before. I mean, these people are so fucked up in the head that they will make you feel guilty for raising an American flag.
I'm here enjoying a nice day at the beach.
I saw this clip. Oh my god.
I got these flags planted here on the beach.
These people suck, bro.
Listen, I get it. This is America, but I'm sick of my flag being represented by white nationalist trash.
These people suck. Can you imagine living life this triggered? Can you imagine waking up pissed off like this guy? This is amazing.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Imagine being mad that there are nationalist zealots in your country. Yeah,
hating for the sake of hating.
Cringe.
Bro, this dude's wife probably left him like the day before, and now he's here on a beach all upset at a family that's actually happy together, and he's like trying to blame it on the flag.
On a goddamn beach. Go fuck yourself.
On a beach? A flag of our country? Wow.
Imagine being called trash because you wanted to sit next to your country's flag. This isn't even the only example that I have of this.
I think I'm in enemy territory. There's too many American flags.
I'm in American territory? There's too many American flags? Anyway, I go to pro-Palestine protests. Anyway, I joined the Mexican riots. Yeah.
For my comfort.
If you feel like you're in enemy territory, then just leave. All the hardworking people who are actually making this country run don't want you here anyway. So like I said, I really have no sympathy for all these TikTokers losing their benefits. I'm tired of listening to people who are constantly trying to destroy our cultural traditions by calling them racist like they did with Halloween, or by saying Christmas is offensive, or by telling us not to celebrate 4th of July, which is the most important day in American history.
God, these
and for
people
the same
suck.
reason, we shouldn't be putting up with the flooding of tens of millions of illegals into the country.
Oh baby, here we go.
By the way, if you think the dislike of people illegally crossing the border is not a bipartisan issue, then allow me to remind you of this video where I showed every left-leaning president of the past 30 years being against illegal, as well as this clip of Bernie Sanders.
Open borders.
open borders.
That's a Koch brothers proposal. The idea, of course, I mean, that's a right-wing proposal which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. What right-wing people in this country would love is an open border policy. Bring in all kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them.
It turns out open borders. Open borders is actually terrible. It comes in, it steals your jobs, it kills your people, it's horrible, it's terrible, it ruins your country, it makes it so bad. Unless, of course, Trump wants to close the borders, in which case, fuck that man. Oh, that man's such a fascist. A fascist. I can't believe Donald Trump wants to close the borders. I can't believe he wants to do that. That's horrible. That's horrible. I've seen Elmo say things on Twitter that I agree with more.
I don't believe in that.
I don't think it can be understated just how harmful it is to allow tens of millions of illegals into a country. And this is the core issue that all these radical leftists are melting down over when it comes to Trump. That's why there were riots in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Now, I've already said some of those harms in that video that I just mentioned as it relates to the job market, so I won't repeat that here. However, I do want to take a second to talk about the people who are saying that illegals work all the jobs that Americans don't want to work. Despite that
so not true
line of thinking having all the class of Kelly Osbourne saying without the Mexicans, who will clean Trump's toilet.
Without illegal immigrants, who will we have as slaves? That's the Democrats fighting for slavery since 1971. I just invented a year.
Turns out that we have a story. A Nebraska meatpacking plant got raided by ICE and lost a bunch of its workforce. 2 days later, there was a line out the door of new applicants. And it's suffice to say that illegal...
It's interesting that he would mention that year specifically, because 1972 was the year that a year after the year he said was the last year, or the year where the last segregated school was desegregated, and it was in my home state of Alabama. Yeehaw. 1972.
Illegals are taking jobs that Americans want. But that won't stop grifters from lying.
As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country.
Yeah, this never happened. I don't think there was ever any people randomly kidnapped and thrown out of the country. She's a liar, obviously. I think she should be removed from Congress. In my opinion, I think they should absolutely leave. I think you should not be allowed to be part of the country if you're going to literally lie like this.
Against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights.
Yet another black woman appropriating white culture by straightening her hair. It's not kidnapping, arrested for breaking the law. They aren't legally in the country, so they don't have rights. Also, the last time I brought this up, people wanted me to mention that illegals are used to rig elections, and that's true.
That is true. Illegal people do not have documentation, and they still fucking vote in certain states.
Certainly can be used to increase the number of electoral votes a state has, because for some reason they can be counted in the census, and they absolutely are used to rig elections in ways that are too complex for the average voter to understand.
Listen. This is important to note. There are no blue states. There are red states, and there are states without voter ID laws.
Which is perfect for dishonest politicians. Again, there are a number of ways that illegals harm the country, but for this video, I want to focus more on the cultural aspects and why the US and basically every other country in the world has limitations on immigration.
All right.
The reason for that is because the culture and the group cohesiveness of a country matters. You know what screws that up?
Oh man, I already see it coming. He's about to say things that are just unquestionably and undeniably true, but they're considered inappropriate, and therefore people are going to be crying and shitting in the comments. Let me give you advice, for example. If you import a complete fucking retard, for example, into your country, then the average retardedness in the country has increased. This is simple math. Now, if you import a culture that is different than your culture, then that culture will fuck up your culture to some extent, and it's not really there to assimilate. So, listen, man, I'm not trying to get into too much hot water, but this is incredibly basic shit.
Tens of millions of people not speaking a country's primary language.
My immigrant parents don't speak English.
Are they immigrants or illegals? Because there's a difference. Anyway.
They're currently in the hospital right now in LA. The doctor didn't speak Spanish, so they needed someone to translate, and at the hospital
Are
they
your
had
parents illegal?
translators, so my
Are they
parents
illegal?
just call me so I can talk to the doctor for them. Once the doctor was done explaining to me what they were going to do to my mom, she decided to give me a comment and say, you should really teach your parents some English so they can learn how to talk in the hospital and communicate and stuff.
I mean,
all right, that's good advice, right? I mean, they don't have to learn English, but that's good advice.
I don't have any ill will towards the issue that caused them to be in the hospital, but outside of that, what a perfectly reasonable suggestion for the doctor to give someone who is living in the US.
Yeah.
Here's what I find curious.
Speak the fucking language, right?
Curious though.
Just
How
good
is it that
advice.
you're like, I'm guessing in your 20s and you speak fluent English, probably at a native level actually, but your parents don't. And what I'm getting at is that
maybe they really weren't too interested in assimilating into the culture.
You sound like you grew up here, meaning your parents have multiple decades to learn English, yet they still don't speak it.
I don't know, but considering that everything's going on with the political climate, maybe I'm just reaching. But you know, Spanish is the secondly most common language spoken in LA.
True.
And I just thought that for hospitals to not have translators and then to blame.
It's the obligation of hospitals to have translators? Like, nah, dude, what are we talking about, bro? Bro, listen. No one's forcing you to learn English. But don't be like, it's the job now of the country that you immigrated to learn your language. Like, that's retarded, bro.
The patient for not knowing the language, I think
it's just... nobody's asking anybody to learn Spanish. That's not happening. You're asking other people to learn English. It makes sense to have people at hospitals whose job it is to speak other languages. Okay, and like, because at the end of the day, like, not everybody speaks the same language. Not everybody speaks English. And they should still be able to receive adequate health care. The only way to do that is with an interpreter.
I didn't really like it.
Now, I can understand...
I'm pretty mad! I am a simple man from Swahili trying my best to get my gallbladder removed, and the doctors do not even speak Swahili. This is racism at its highest standard.
If someone had to go to the hospital while they were traveling and they didn't have a translator, I can see how that would be frustrating. But as far as I can tell, your parents have been in this country for multiple decades. You couldn't use a little bit of that time to learn English? And I'm pointing this out because this isn't an extreme example. It's actually very common in Southern California for adults who go out there to train.
Yeah, because tons of people live there, and they all live in one community where it's not necessary to learn English because they can all speak Spanish. It happens, and that's why we shouldn't have a national language. We have tons of like groups of people in this country that predominantly speak the language from their country of origin.
Translate for their parents who lived in the U.S. the entire time that said adults were growing up.
True.
But for the Spanish
that does happen.
speakers, it's even more ridiculous because not only do we have like a million different resources like smartphones that make language learning a lot easier than it was 15 years ago, but it's not even that hard for a Spanish speaker to learn English. Most of the grammar is the same. Tons of the words are the same. The alphabet is basically the same. And last, you're living in a country where people primarily speak your target language. I mean, this isn't even on the spectrum of difficulty compared to something like an English speaker learning Japanese, where not only is literally everything different outside of a few borrowed words, but you get to spend years of your life learning to read just the basic characters instead of a few minutes like you would going from Spanish to English.
I mean, I get the point that he's trying to make. I personally speak like 4 languages, so I personally I get what he's saying. However, I do have to also mention it's not.
He said this before. I think he said 3 languages before as well. Now it's 4. I don't know. Maybe he learned a new language. Anyway, he speaks Yiddish. I think he said he speaks some Dutch. Something Yiddish is similar to Dutch, but it's most similar to German, in my opinion. Although that is up for debate. But Yiddish is an interesting language. It's one of those languages that is a product of people moving to Germany and needing to speak German, but all they spoke was Hebrew. So they just kind of did their best to speak German.
Just about the social cohesion, all right?
And that
they're not willing
became
to learn
Yiddish.
languages. It's the idea that they don't want to assimilate. They don't want to become American. They don't want to contribute to America. They want to largely just get the advantages of being in America without actually wanting to make America as a country a better country. And they would rather America become their country than them assimilate to American culture. For example, I think you see so often people go from a third world country to America and be like, yo, I want America to be exactly like my third world country. Why don't you leave then? All right, listen, obviously America's not your third world country, and it shouldn't be your third world country. It has its own culture, it has its own people. It's not necessary. But a lot of people move in with that mindset. I'm going to turn them into my original country.
So I don't really have any sympathy for the people saying that it's too hard for them to learn the primary language of America. It's also inconsiderate to the native population. Like, I would never move to Japan and go 20 years without learning the language.
But I think that
they're like, I'm going to turn
and
America
other places
into
should just
Mexico.
do better, especially in LA because it's so diverse.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually one of the worst parts of Southern California. To be clear, I'm not talking about the cultural diversity, because as a foreign language learner, I'm actually quite a big fan of exploring different cultures. But what I don't appreciate about Southern California is the vast number of people who put zero effort into learning English or American.
It's not just that, it's people that don't want to be part of America. I really feel like that's kind of the entire move. They don't want to be part of America. They literally don't. They just want the advantages of America because America's the best fucking country on the planet. So, you know, but they don't want to be American. They don't want anything to do with America.
And customs, because not only is that bad for the country, but it severely limits the upward mobility of the foreigners who move here. It's bad for everybody. But the bigger issue here is people not assimilating or adopting American cultural values.
Because I mean, listen, you want America to become Europe? Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no!
If you have vast numbers of people doing that, then you'll lose the cultural values that made America a success.
True.
Like, it's no secret that many...
Look, it's the values and culture of America that makes America what it is. If you want to move to America, because it's the best country in the world, and change the culture and values of America, then you are effectively cancerous and killing the country. Listen, I am all for legal immigration when it's people that want to assimilate. But I don't know why so many countries are really gung-ho about bringing in cultures that don't even want to try to assimilate. It's crazy to me. It's suicidal.
Many of these people still idealize the culture they grew up in. Well, sorry, I mean the culture they fled from. And they want to change America's cultural values into the ones that they're used to. And it starts with the passive aggressiveness of not learning the language of the country that's providing you with the opportunities that your home country didn't.
We do not move to America because we think it's a better country. We move here because it's a little less worse than our other countries.
So then why are you trying to turn this country into the other country? Isn't it retarded?
Yo,
Okay,
imagine telling somebody that they're being passive aggressive because they just don't want to learn a language that they don't need to learn. For real.
is to move to the best country out there and change its culture to be exactly like the country we just left because it's shitty. A little less worse. Nice way to say better. This country is better than the other country.
Because you're stupid to think that we moved to this country for some hot dogs and some baseball. We have better vibes, music, food, culture, history, literally all of the above.
So go away. So literally leave. Literally go back. See, I don't care about these people's problems because these people are our problems. Like, why do I have to suffer as someone that loves my country and deal with people that want to come in and just destroy it and literally pervert it?
Well, great. Go back to where you came from then if everything is so much better there. Why would you live in a country that's worse?
Hey, it's not worse. It's just a little less better.
Because we are looking to make more money and offer a better chance for our family.
Oh, so it's a better country. Oh, so it's better then. So it's better for your life, right?
If you support ICE, you support people.
Fuck yeah, I support ICE. Hell yeah. But you don't want borders? What, you want people to just come in with impunity? Fuck no, I support the shit out of ICE.
Getting destroyed. If you support families getting destroyed.
Well, it depends on the families. What if the father's a rapist? Do you think he should go to jail? If the answer is yes, and you think that a father should go to jail, then you're also supporting destroying families, right?
I hope you rot in hell.
If they didn't want to get deported, then they should have immigrated legally. And by the way, if we're going to have a moral pissing contest here, then note that as recently as last year, these people who are entering the U.S. illegally had no problem throwing kids into razor wire to get across the border. And the New York Post reports that they were
Dude, just like the amount of times you have to talk about this shit, it's important. 300,000 kids went missing at the border over Biden's term. Like, what are we talking about? Biden and Obama put these people in fucking cages in deserts. Like, what are we talking about? Like, they are immoral fucks.
Specifically using children as human shields to get in. But more importantly, you don't just get to come here and loot the system because your country sucks. If you want to be here, you can either do so legally and learn the language and the cultural values, or you can get the hell out. And also, the harsh reality here is that not every culture is compatible with American culture.
What he's talking about, by the way, I know what this is. The Biden administration, they decided to allow, like, permanent residents that were documented, children who were permanent residents and are documented, they allowed them to stop checking in with immigration, with the immigration office. So, anyway, they voluntarily, like, stop checking in. They're still documented. Like, we know where they live. We're just not, like, tracking them. We're not forcing them to check in with the immigration office. That's what he means when he says that 300,000 children, like, went off the grid or whatever. Off the fucking grid. No, dude. Most of them are probably still in the same addresses where they were before. But even if they're not anymore, it doesn't mean that they're vanished into thin air. And anyway, the idea that is, and by the way, I'm not even, like, I don't even support that necessarily. I think it would have been better to just, like, give them all like, official legal status. Even though I'm pretty sure they were all, like, permanent residents.
This is going. I know where it's going. Oh shit.
There's a reason why we have borders, and there's a reason why we have limitations on how many people are allowed to immigrate legally. And the purpose of that is to give people time to learn American culture,
about, like,
so that the values that made this country successful, like what's in the Bill of Rights, don't get diluted by less successful values from foreigners or values that don't work well in our system. Now, that's not to say that people can't remember where they came from or practice their own traditions.
No, absolutely.
The best part of America.
That's the beauty of America. America is a wonderful place where you could be whatever religion you want. You could be of whatever heritage you want. But as long as you have American values, in my opinion, which is based on, Christian ethics, that's definitely how it started. Fuck yeah, that's amazing. That's beautiful.
It's seeing diverse cultures and being able to take the best of what they have to offer and put it into our system to strengthen the country. That's called a melting pot. But like I said, it's not a good practice to flood the country with tons of random values, especially considering that certain ideas run in opposition to the core principles of America.
Like, as an example, would you import a community from a country where rape was legal? Would you do that? Do you think that perhaps, in my opinion, do you think that perhaps that would be good for your community? If all of a sudden you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna import 1,000 people that all think rape is not bad, all right? Do you think it would make your neighborhood more or less safe? All right, listen, I'm just asking the questions. You let me know your opinions.
And in my personal opinion, you can either drop those ideas or go live somewhere else.
Do you believe in equal rights for women? I do.
Yes, of course.
Okay, in a Sharia law country, your testimony
oh shit
is worth half of that of a man. Your testimony is worth half. Also, in marriage and divorce, a man can divorce you like this, but you cannot divorce him. It's the man's choice. Child marriage is permitted in some interpretations based on
Syria, you're allowed to get married at the age of 9.
Prophet Muhammad. Dress code. Women are often legally obligated to follow strict dress codes and punished for not complying. Is this something you want to live under?
Yo, why are these countries that are all, like, suffering on a systemic level at the behest of our imperialist nation, why are they so, like, mean to women? I don't know. I don't know. It could
question,
be
because I don't want you to live in
probably
something like
because
this.
they're
If you're
evil
acting
people.
to me right now, like what
or
you're doing,
something,
bringing
right?
awareness is for on behalf of women and children. And
Because
instead
their
of
culture
bringing
is
in hate, then I
inferior.
think,
We have the
as I said
superior
from the start, I
culture.
don't
That's
think that we
why.
have a lot to talk about.
I think you're escaping my question because you don't want to answer. You don't want to appear bad. You don't want to look bad. You don't want to look discriminatory.
Oh, he was literally cooking! Oh my god, he cooked! Listen, you don't want to sound racist, but you're retarded.
He is avoiding the question. Radical leftists have been doing that in this area for like 15 years. Hates Jews, Christians, atheists, dogs, gays, bacon, beer, wine, your civilization, your culture, your traditions, and your country. Complains about Islamophobia. True. If you criticize...
True! He used my true! He told me that he used my true at some point. Oh my god, that's crazy. No, but there's this one meme that's really
This
fucking
meme
racist,
has to have been made by a CIA.
Sharia law, then you're a racist. Wait, is that technically racism? Islam is not a race. Not to say that there aren't good things about Muslims or there aren't values of theirs that I agree with, but I think plenty of the West has gotten tired of...
Also, there are a lot of wonderful Muslims. It's not like it's an all-Muslim issue, and I really hate when people take it to that extreme. It's specifically the extremists. It really is. It's the ones that are like actually extremists. Like it's so again, the fringe of every group makes the entire group look fucking horrible.
The radical aspects of that culture flooding into their countries, followed by them telling everyone in the native population how to live.
Western countries, at least in Norway, you can spend fortune on groceries, walk out with hundreds of bags from the store, and nobody is going to ask you if you need help.
Okay.
In Somaliland, you can buy big or small, and you better believe that somebody is going to snatch that bag from you and take it to your car without even you asking them. This is service. This is what's called humanity. Western people have a lot to learn.
Oh my god. Like, do you see the irony, right? If she took off her hat in Iran, they would literally execute her on the street.
Especially when it comes to helping each other, caring about each other,
True.
being there for each other.
Yet another empathetic and caring person demanding stuff. If your country is...
You need to have more... As someone with so much empathy, you need to do better for me.
So great, then why did you move? However, one of the funnier elements of this whole situation is that apparently now Mexicans are protesting foreigners being in their country.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
These are people who are lawfully residing in Mexico. But
wait, what? Yo, I didn't know that. I thought they were deporting, like, Americans that were in Mexico illegally. They were deporting legal Americans. Oh my god.
Putting up signs saying things like, pay taxes, speak Spanish, use pesos, or get out of here.
Multiculturalism is good, but only in your country.
Here's a different sign saying, respect my culture. Wow.
Yes, culture is a thing that exists, but only in someone else's.
Yeah, because of gentrification, bro. That's why they're saying it. The reason that they don't want the dollar, they don't want people using the dollar, they don't want people speaking English, is because literally those things increase like the value of the property, and that it makes the taxes more expensive, and that's it. Like, people don't want to... People want to, like, live in a stable environment where they don't have to worry about, like, fluctuating prices year to year.
This country. How ironic that you would see signs like this in Mexico.
Bad for
now, while I can sympathize with Mexican natives telling foreigners to leave if they don't respect the culture, a lot of people have been questioning the authenticity of these protests and saying that they were astroturfs because of the mostly peaceful aspect of them where rioters were damaging a bunch of property. People have been asking how exactly does that help Mexicans? But most importantly, there's a reason why culture and tradition need to be protected and why we should be resisting the unmitigated flooding of tons of different cultures into America.
I agree. I think he's right.
And that's because multiculturalism doesn't work. In fact, I think that breaking down American traditions and replacing them with multiculturalism is merely a tactic that people in power use to make everyone easier to control, so we don't fight back when they steal from us. It's really difficult to organize people if they don't share the same values and if they can't talk to each other because they don't speak the same languages. And along with that,
Tower of Babel all over again.
As you start to break down culture and get rid of traditions, what you end up with is a ton of demoralized and useless people who will find any excuse for why they aren't doing well to hide their own laziness or unwillingness to make changes, who can then be weaponized to do a bunch of violent stuff.
Again, I wouldn't go that far and say that it's done as some sort of vindictive way to make people not be able to work together. I don't know if that's the actual end goal. I'm not going to make believe I know what it is. Obviously, there's so many theories about this, and this is not a video for all those conspiracy theories. But I think that the ultimate purpose here is to mention the fact that it's clearly not working. It isn't working. When you import a culture that is different than your own, it is going to change your culture. And honestly, if you're importing a worse culture, then to be honest, it's going to make your society worse. And that's fucking horrible.
There really is only one essential ingredient.
They're replacing our culture with theirs.
I blame cops. I blame
and it's worse.
Wow, doesn't that sound familiar? It's almost like you could change the race that's being blamed for everything from black people to white people, and you'll have a radical leftist. But in reality, you can have all sorts of disadvantages and still come out ahead. This was trending a while back. A girl is in a rollerblading race, she trips right at the start, and begins way behind in last place. But she doesn't give up. She slowly starts to overtake the other girls, and eventually, she ends up winning the race.
That's our goal!
Because she didn't let her setback demoralize her. And what all these TikTok complainers are missing is that the brain likes challenges, and because disadvantages create challenge, they can often be the greatest motivator for success, to the extent that starting out with less can actually be a huge advantage because you'll grow up more competent than the people who are just given everything. And because of that, my biggest issue with all these radical leftists is they're giving a lot of people the space to wallow in depression instead of pushing to succeed, which is overloading America with a bunch of useless rejects instead of people who will push through their disadvantages.
True. I don't think this is necessarily a multiculturalism thing. I think this is much more of like a socialism thing. I think this is like it's a mentality. It's a mentality where you feel like you deserve everything and everyone is equal and everyone deserves equal. Even it doesn't matter how much work you put into it. Doesn't matter what you actually contribute. All that matters is that everyone should be the same, except for the people born as white straight men, because you see those guys, they were born privileged. So they're the bad guys. We are the victims. We deserve so many things, and they're keeping it from us. So therefore, they are the villain class, and we are the oppressed evil class. Again, I don't think this is personally cultural. I do think that there are problems with mixing cultures together that don't mesh with each other, because obviously not every culture meshes with one another. If you're moving to America, you should do it because you love America and you want to contribute to America. You shouldn't be doing it because you want to turn America into the country that you ran away from. And if that is your ideology, quite frankly, I don't want you here. And I don't think the country wants you here as a whole. I don't think that's being racist. I think that's actually taking care of Americans. I love America. I don't want America to turn into a third world country. And if you import the third world, then you become the third world. Stay weird, fab. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fab.
That really sucked.